Pause for a second and ask yourself, are you really chasing success? Or are you just trying to prove you're not a failure? Really think about that. Because the line between ambition and insecurity is thin, and most people never stop long enough to notice they crossed it. We live in a world where success has become a performance, not a pursuit. It's no longer something you build slowly, with purpose, integrity, and inner clarity. It's something you present, curate, promote, something you wrap in filters and hashtags and perfectly framed humble brags. And if you're not careful, it will consume you. Because in today's culture, success isn't just about achievement, it's about optics. Scroll through your phone. It's everywhere. The 26-year-old tech founder flying private to Aspen. The remote worker posting laptop lifestyle shots from Bali. The biohacker who's up at 4:45 a.m. cold plunging, journaling, fasting, and somehow managing 5 income streams and a podcast before noon. Success today looks like Rolexes, 6-figure weekends, private masterminds, and neon-lit vision boards. Everyone's building a brand. Everyone's winning. Or at least, they look like they are. But if so many people are crushing it, why does it feel like so many of us are quietly falling apart? Why is burnout higher than ever? Why are anxiety and depression at all-time peaks? Why are people in their 30s, 40s, even 50s, people who've built families, careers, lives, still lying awake at night, haunted by a feeling that none of it is enough? A study from 2023 revealed that nearly half of Americans making over $100,000 a year reported feeling like their life lacked real meaning. Let that sink in. These aren't people who didn't make it. These are people who checked all the boxes. They got the job. They made the money. They reached the summit and found nothing waiting for them. Because here's the truth no one tells you. The definition of success has been hijacked, and it's become a moving target. You hit one goal, and it shifts. You buy the house, and now you need the luxury kitchen. You hit 6 figures now, it's 7. You get in shape now, you need to monetize the brand. It never ends. It's like pouring water into a glass with a hole in the bottom. No matter how much you pour, it never fills. And that's by design. Because the version of success sold to us today isn't meant to satisfy. It's meant to sell. The more we crave, the more we spend. The more we compare, the more we consume. And slowly, without noticing, we stop living from a place of purpose and start performing from a place of fear. You think you're chasing a dream, but are you? Or are you just terrified of falling behind? This system doesn't reward peace. It rewards performance. That is why you'll see people who already made it still grinding like their worth is on the line, because it is. Not internally, but in the eyes of a culture that only values the next level. And the scariest part? Most people don't even realize they're trapped. They think they're chasing legacy, purpose, provision, but what they're really chasing is validation. That quick dopamine hit when someone says, "You're killing it." That brief high when the likes roll in or the raise hits the account. But like any drug, it fades fast. And then, you need a bigger hit. You've felt it. That twinge when someone your age is further. That shame when someone else is thriving and you feel stuck. That voice whispering, "You should be more by now." That's not inspiration. That's insecurity dressed up like ambition. So let's stop lying to ourselves. Let's stop pretending that if we just hit one more milestone, we'll finally feel like enough. Because the more you chase success to prove your worth, the more disconnected you become from what actually makes you worthy. So ask yourself, honestly, are you really chasing success? Or are you just afraid of what people will think if you stop? Because up next, we're going to dive into how society reprogrammed our definition of success and why. If you don't take it back, you might spend your whole life climbing a ladder that was never leaning against your wall to begin with. You've probably never thought about it like this, but modern society has quietly rewired the way we see success. It's not an accident. It's a subtle, relentless shift that happened over decades, so slow you barely noticed it. In the past, success was often measured inwardly. Did you provide for your family? Did you build a life that felt meaningful? Did you contribute to your community? Did you feel proud of the person you were becoming? Today, success is mostly about outward signals. It's what others see, what they applaud, what they envy. And that rewiring happened through many forces. The rise of social media made our lives a stage. We no longer live, we perform. We don't just do things, we show them. Instagram stories, LinkedIn updates, TikTok clips, all carefully designed to broadcast. Look at me. Look at what I have. Look at what I'm achieving. The attention economy runs on validation. Algorithms reward content that looks successful. Likes, shares, comments, they're the currency now. The more you get, the more successful you appear. This rewiring creates a dangerous feedback loop. The more we rely on external validation, the less we trust our own sense of worth. It is like seeing yourself only through the mirror of other people's eyes and losing touch with your own reflection. You stop asking, "Am I proud of what I've done?" and start asking, "Do they think I'm impressive?" You stop building a life that feels right. You start curating a life that looks right. And the problem with that is twofold. One, it's exhausting. You become a prisoner to performance, always editing, always polishing, always hiding parts of yourself that won't get applause. Two, it's hollow. Because a life built on external approval is fragile, when the applause fades, so does your sense of worth. Let me share a story that might sound familiar. There was a woman named Mia, a marketing executive in New York City. She climbed the corporate ladder quickly, earned awards, got featured in industry magazines, and built a LinkedIn following with thousands of connections. To everyone else, she seemed like the definition of success. But at the end of the day, she felt invisible. The promotions didn't fill the emptiness. The accolades felt like hollow echoes. She realized she was living for the likes in real life. Her true passions, writing poetry, hiking, quiet mornings with coffee, were sidelined because they didn't generate buzz. One weekend, she went off-grid, no phone, no social media. She took a solo trip to the mountains and spent time with just herself. For the first time in years, she asked, "Who am I without the spotlight?" It was uncomfortable, but it was also freeing, because she started to see that real success wasn't the job title or the public recognition. It was the ability to show up for herself, unfiltered. To live a life aligned with her values, not her audience's expectations. Mia's story is not unique. It's the story of millions of Americans caught in the performance trap. The question is, how do you break free? You start by shifting your focus inward. You stop measuring your worth by the applause of strangers. You start asking the hard questions. Do I respect the person I am when no one is watching? Do I trust myself to make decisions without needing validation? Am I living a life that feels true, or just one that looks good on social media? This is the turning point. Because once you reclaim your definition of success, you start living for you, not for the crowd. And that's when freedom begins. So, are you ready to keep going? Shall we explore what it truly means to own your worth beyond applause? Think about it. How many times have you felt like no matter how much you accomplish, it's still not enough? You hit a goal, then there's another one waiting. You get praised, then you crave more praise. You earn a raise, then want a promotion. You gain followers, then obsess over growing your account. That's the treadmill effect of chasing recognition. The philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer called this the blind will, a force that pushes us endlessly toward what we don't have, while making us forget what we already do. It's like an insatiable hunger inside, never satisfied, always wanting more. And modern society supercharges this hunger. The problem is, it doesn't care about your peace. It doesn't care about your happiness. It only cares that you keep moving, keep chasing, keep proving. You hustle harder, not because you're inspired, but because you're afraid of falling behind. Here's another example. Jason was a tech entrepreneur in Silicon Valley. He launched his startup, and it quickly gained attention. Investors poured money in. Media outlets called him a visionary. He was invited to speak at conferences. His Instagram followers skyrocketed, but Jason wasn't happy. Every success just raised the bar. Every win meant he had to do more, be more, perform more. He stopped enjoying his work. He stopped spending time with friends and family. He stopped sleeping well. One night, after a pitch meeting, he sat alone in his apartment and asked himself a brutal question. Am I chasing success, or am I just running from fear? That moment changed everything. Jason realized he was trapped in a cycle chasing external approval to silence his internal doubts. His worth was tied to outcomes, not to who he was. And that's the trap so many fall into. Recognition becomes a god, not fulfillment. Applause becomes the goal, not peace. The race never ends because the goalposts keep moving. There's always someone bigger, louder, faster. The social media star with more followers. The startup founder with a higher valuation. The colleague with a flashier title. And so, we hustle harder, burning out in the process. But what if the answer isn't to run faster? What if it's to step off the treadmill, to stop chasing and start arriving? True success isn't a summit you reach by outpacing everyone else. It's a state of being. It's the quiet confidence of someone who no longer needs the world's approval, who can sit in silence and still feel whole. That kind of success doesn't scream. It whispers. It's not flashy. It doesn't need an audience. It's about living from the inside out, not from the outside in. So ask yourself, are you running toward something real, or just chasing a shadow? Are you leading your life, or are you being led by fear? Because as long as your worth depends on applause, you'll never find rest. And that's the real cost of the endless chase. Modern culture has quietly rewired how we see ourselves. Success isn't something you feel inside anymore. It's something others must see, measure, and praise. If it's not visible on social media, if it doesn't come with likes, comments, shares, it doesn't count. You stop asking yourself, am I proud of this? And start asking, will others think this is impressive? Life becomes less about what feels right and more about what looks right. But here's the catch. The more you depend on others to validate you, the less you trust your own judgment. You build your identity on a fragile foundation external approval. That's a dangerous place to be. Imagine a young woman named Emily. She was a top-performing lawyer, respected by her peers, making a great salary. Her LinkedIn profile was impeccable, her Instagram feed curated perfectly. She posted about her charity work, her vacations, her designer clothes. On the outside, Emily looked like she had it all. But inside, she felt hollow. She didn't feel proud, just exhausted. She wasn't living for herself anymore, but for the image she projected. One day, after a stressful client meeting, Emily sat down with her journal and wrote, "Who am I beyond this image?" It was the first time she asked that question in years. That moment was the start of her journey back to herself. Because when you build success on performance, you build a prison. A prison made of gold chains, bright, shiny, but binding nonetheless. You begin dimming the parts of yourself that don't get applause. You exaggerate the parts that do. You become a character in a story you didn't write. Carl Jung called this the persona, the mask we wear to fit in, to survive, to be accepted. Behind the persona lies the shadow, those parts of us we hide, deny, or reject. And here's the paradox. The more you ignore your shadow, the more it controls you. You feel lost, even at your brightest moments. True success comes when you stop running from your shadow and start facing it. When you accept all parts of yourself, the good, the bad, the messy. Only then do you become whole. Only then does the chase end. Emily started painting again, something she loved as a kid, but abandoned for real work. No likes, no followers, no external validation, but she found joy. She found peace. She found herself. That's freedom. When success isn't about achievement, but alignment. Not about impressing others, but about honoring yourself. It's about knowing your value, even when no one's watching. And that kind of success, it doesn't come with a trophy. It comes with peace. Maybe the question isn't how to win more, but what you're ready to let go of. Maybe real success isn't standing at the summit with a crowd cheering. Maybe it's the moment you stop climbing and start coming home to yourself. Think about it. When you wake up every morning chasing what you call success, are you really doing it for you? Or are you running from the fear of being seen as a failure? Are you building a life you truly believe in? Or just trying to outrun the voice inside that says, you're not enough? Most people never pause to ask these questions. The treadmill of modern life moves too fast. Slowing down feels like weakness. In a world obsessed with performance, stopping is taboo. But if your worth depends on success, what does that mean? It means you don't believe you're valuable without it. If you always need the next win, the next milestone, the next round of applause to feel okay, what you're really chasing isn't purpose, it's relief. Relief from that quiet, nagging fear that says, without success, I'm nothing. That's not ambition. That's fear disguised as drive. A golden cage. Because as long as your worth is tied to achievement, you'll never rest unless you're winning. You'll never feel safe unless you're ahead. You'll never feel free. Even victory will feel like a trap. The game's rules will keep shifting. The goalposts will move. The scoreboard will never stop blinking. Outside, your life may look impressive. Inside, it feels hollow. The world won't help you see this. It will hand you more goals, more people to impress, more masks to wear. But you can step away. You can reclaim your story. You can remember real success isn't about winning. It's about arriving. Arriving fully present. Arriving without the need to perform. Arriving knowing who you are when no one's watching. And liking that person. Trusting that person. Standing with that person even when the world turns away. Carl Jung said true freedom comes when we face our shadow. When we stop hiding the parts of ourselves society told us to reject. That's where wholeness begins. Not when you've made it, but when you no longer need to. Not when you finally get what you want, but when you finally understand you are never lacking to begin with. So here's the real question. Are you chasing success for yourself? Or just trying to escape the shame of being seen as a failure? Be honest. Because if you need success to prove you're worthy, maybe you've never truly believed you were worthy at all. And if that stings, it's okay. Let it. Sometimes the truth hurts before it sets you free, but freedom is waiting. Not in the next trophy, not in the next post. It's inside you right now, waiting to be remembered. So don't scroll past this. Sit with it. Let it sink in. And if it speaks to something true inside you, live like it. You don't have to keep running. You already matter. Now act like it.